Alright, this YouTuber's back. Did she get...
Welcome
what
back,
happened?
guys. We've got an update on the situation.
Oh, she's addressing the cancer clickbaits. Oh, no. Here we go.
With YouTuber Catliente, aka Cat in Chat, who has recently come under fire for terrible VTuber related coverage. And so now she issued this whole response to VTuber Alicia, who is calling her out. And Cat's response is going terribly. She's getting roasted for this. She's getting roasted for what she did to Dokibird the other day. Like, it's just all crashing down for Cat right now. But really quick, I'll give a extremely rudimentary summary of what led up to this for anyone who may not have seen my prior two videos. Back in November, Cat made a video about VTuber Alicia getting hacked, but also using Alicia's cancer as clickbait. She got immense backlash for that and made a number of excuses, but ultimately did take the video down and give the presumed ad revenue to Alicia. Fast forward to a number of days ago, and Cat made a video on Dokibird. The video being very one-sided, nearly 2 hours long, and basically tries the entire time to make Doki look terrible. Doki responded, and then Cat began to get even more backlash for her terrible video, with many calling her out for the awful coverage. Again, there is a lot more details to all this, so once again, please consider watching the prior videos for the full context. But continuing, one of the many issues with Cat's video about Doki was a section where she references the cancer clickbait situation with Alicia that I mentioned a moment ago.
I bet the sources that she gets to, like, when she does her research, I bet some of the sources that she gets are from retarded people on the fucking Twitter space. You're fucking stupid. Why don't you actually ask the person who was directly involved instead of speculating and assuming?
Now, Cat brings this up specifically to try and paint herself out as having handled the situation well, and essentially tries to make the argument that
especially if you're going to be a
handle things
journalist
better,
like that,
like how she herself handled the situation with Alicia. Cat doing this came off extremely weird, tone-deaf, and manipulative to what actually happened. And eventually, Alicia finds out about Cat bringing the situation up again months later and trying to use it to make her look good and Doki look bad. A very weird thing to do, like I said, and a bit difficult to even describe because it's so tone-deaf and devoid of logic for why Cat actually thought this was a good idea. Nevertheless, Alicia understandably then went off on Cat yesterday, calling her out in a number of statements. And so that takes us up to the present. Again, a really quick summary, but at least that gets you in the loop if you haven't seen the other two videos that I made on all this stuff. As now, Cat has issued this response on her Twitter account. This is again extremely tone-deaf by Cat, and I can't even grasp how she thinks this is a good way of handling things. In particular, because first of all, the statement's just not good, but two, this statement is essentially the same thing that she's already been saying in her comment section trying to defend herself, which she is already getting criticism for, and people are pointing out issues with this. And so now her response directly to Alicia is to just repeat the same stuff that's already not working. It's such a weird thing to do. I don't even know how to like explain that. I don't know if I even want to read this whole thing already, because again, this is just the same stuff we already talked about yesterday. She's just recycling the same bad talking points again. But I suppose we'll read this really quick. So, and then we'll get to all the backlash and what people are saying about this and everything. You know, the more entertaining part. Here's more of Cat's excuse slop. Addressing the cancer clickbait incident with Alicia. There was a situation where Alicia was hacked and lost access to their YouTube channel, and I had made a video about it titled something like "VTuber with cancer was hacked." The VTuber had publicly expressed on their Twitter they did not want people to talk about the
we already read this.
And I wanted to respect that.
I think we
and was
read
going
this
to delete the
yesterday.
video. At this point, the video was not live. It was sitting as private on my channel.
Or at least I touched
the
upon it
to
yesterday.
avoid miscommunication with my editor, and that's my fault. However, while I was asleep, my editor posted the video without me knowing. He does not have permission to post videos to my channel. He never had posted a video prior to this, so I did not expect that he would do that. This is so weird. Yeah, it's never happened before. Just this one time when I'm getting a bunch of backlash. That one time wasn't my fault.
Yeah, so
who's buying that? He does not have permission to read that one.
Oh, you know, I didn't make a mistake in the past. that repeated itself.
And two different things.
So fucking stupid.
Even if that excuse was true, that still doesn't make sense. If
like,
you thought
nice way to
thing,
fucking out yourself.
He's human and makes mistakes like the rest of us. Please do not hate him if you know who he is. Regardless, the blame lies with me, as I should have immediately deleted the video off my channel to avoid possible misinterpretation that the video was good to go live. This entire time, I was asleep, and I woke up confused as to what happened. I misremembered. I thought I realized something happened at 4 p.m. PT when I woke up.
No,
But I realized
it was
actually
my
when editor told
editor.
me about
My
my stream,
editor
something
did
happened.
it.
After
He
my
was
stream,
the
something
one who
happened,
sent
excuse me,
in the
making it
video
around
too
10
early.
p.m. PT. The moment I realized something was wrong, I
Yeah,
deleted the video, privately apologized to the VTuber, and compensated the VTuber for potential damages that could have occurred for
When
around the last
you're
4 hours of
already
video.
known to
Okay,
like
hold up.
do some flaky
ain't
shit,
adding up,
right?
guys.
It's
This is
like,
definitely not
yeah,
adding
I
up.
don't know about that one.
So here the claim is that the video was up for around 12 hours, and that Kat paid money to Alicia for potential damages. But that's not what she said previously, is it? As we can see right here in this screenshot of the comment that Kat and chat allegedly left on the Doki video, look at the second paragraph here. I was asleep the entire time and woke up at 4 p.m. to a mess, and I was super confused as to what was happening.
That's
Even though the entire situation wasn't my fault, it's a reflection of the Cat and Chat brand, and I immediately took the video down and paid the VTuber compensation for their troubles for the video being up for 6 hours. So here, the claim is that it was compensation for troubles, not damages, but also that the video was up for around 6 hours. This is not what she just said in her other statement. Going back to that new statement, continuing, she says, you can see the timestamps in the attached photos of the post about the video 11/2/24
I didn't want to talk
in my message
about this publicly. I
deemed
deemed the situation resolved.
I
No,
didn't
you
want to talk about
shouldn't.
this publicly because I deemed the situation
Yeah,
resolved.
no,
And
you
also
you
didn't want to
fucking
continue
tried to
mentioning that
sweep it
VTuber, as they've already expressed
under the
multiple times they
rug, and
didn't
then when
want
you
people
got
to talk
called
about
out,
their
you're
health
just like,
situation.
oh
But
no,
I
I didn't
felt it
happen
needed to be
like
brought
that.
up,
I
as there's a
swear.
narrative going around that I exploited their health for views when I was asleep the entire time it was happening. I cannot believe this person, dude. You didn't want to talk about this again publicly. You're the one who brought it up again.
Yes, it's literally you outed
Alicia
yourself.
wasn't saying anything about this
You
again
self-reported
until
yourself, you know
brought
that?
it up again in the Doki video from, what was it, 4 days ago now? 5 days ago now? That very
Maybe if
recent video.
people stop
This person's
self-reporting, maybe
And
it'd be
so,
fine.
Cat Liente, aka Cat
Nah,
in
you're
Chat,
fucking
gets around 200
self-reported.
likes on that post that we just read and locks the responses. She then goes on to share the full DM conversation that she had with Alicia. We read part of this yesterday, and Alicia also sharing part, if not all of it, in the video that she covered on her channel. Kat then going on to say, payment proof, I definitely wanted to make sure there wasn't any instance of me unfairly profiting from her cancer, and at that point, I sent her 3 times the amount to be overly certain.
156.
And then there's this. What's this? I didn't want to make this public because I thought the situation was privately resolved, and because I didn't want any backlash to fall on my editor for a human error. Again, it's ultimately my responsibility to double check each video that goes live, and I fell short here. For which I'm sorry. I make amends to the VTuber as soon as I realized something was wrong.
You were in cahoots with your editor. You made that whole video. What the fuck do you mean?
I think she's referring to the video that Alicia made yesterday talking about
trying to
this
feign
again,
ignorance.
which again only happened because Kat brought it up again first in her Doki video.
And there's just been a lot of content creators who are
that
literally
since this was
trying to
happening,
feign
I need to address the
ignorance.
situation at hand.
I'm sorry, that's not a fucking defense.
Why is there no accountability?
You're gonna
for
get a
you
fucking
being the one to
noose.
bring it up again, though. Like, you're just trying to like put all the blame on
Jeez.
Alicia somehow when she's just responding to what you did. And again, guys, really important thing to remember. Not only did Kat bring
Why
this
are
situation with
people
Alicia
like
up again
this?
in her Doki video, she
It's-
tried to use it against Doki somehow. The situation had nothing to do with Doki, but Kat was trying to use it as an example of how Kat handles things so well. See how well I handle things, guys. I'm so much better than Dokibird.
I mean,
Bird
you
should
guys are
handle
just
things like I do."
unprofessional retards.
And so now Alicia
I'm
is
just-
responding to the statement that Kat made
That's
that
all
we just
it
read.
is.
Alicia's saying,
Unprofessional
"Hey there,
retards
idiot.
who
It's
think you
me,
can
the person
fucking
who
just
exploited.
shit
Don't worry, I
swing
shared all
wherever
the
you
screenshots
want.
in my video.
And just
It
make
doesn't
up
save
fucking
you.
lies
You said
and
in your own
deceit.
words, I was too lazy to take down, and that taking down videos takes time. You're a liar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
for the
make up
record, the time it takes to take down a
misinformation
video is like a handful of seconds.
right,
Depending
to
on your internet
cause
speed, I guess maybe a little
to
longer.
cause-
You gotta wait for the page
to cause
load.
fake
But dude,
outrage.
if you're doing it from
right?
mobile, you go to like the creator
And
app.
then you got
go to
people
the
brigading each
dashboard
other
thing,
because you
like,
caused
click
this
content,
fake
click the
outrage.
video,
Nice.
Go down to like the options.
You know
there
who
should be, like,
does
one
that a
for delete.
lot?
It doesn't take
The
time. That's
media,
not like the exact steps. So that's,
politicians,
it's a very easy, short process to do.
streamers.
And if you're on your computer, it's basically the same sort of thing. You
Guys
go
are
to the
fucked in
dashboard,
the head.
click the video, find the delete option. Like, come on now.
You guys got
it takes
some.
time, guys.
You guys got
Okay?
some screws loose, and you
You
probably
can
need to
pretend
go
and act like
fucking
your
talk
editor
to
is
a
the problem,
therapist.
But you are. You are a terrible person who thinks posting about my cancer is fine, who chose to bring me up again to defend yourself when slamming on Dokibird. You posted a video clickbaiting my cancer on your channel. You had it changed titled to me being in remission. You bashed Doki for her quote unquote blaming others. You're a hypocrite. Trying to call out someone else while you are the problem is just classic you, though. All the screenshots, honey, I can provide them since they are in my response video. Oh yeah, by the way, the statement that Kat made, it also got this community note that reads, the statement missed a lot of context. Post of the person who got affected by this, video statement of the person with all uncensored screenshots. And Alicia continues here too, saying, let's click this 1 second. There we go. My screenshots also include the comment I made that you deleted. So cheers, you posted about my channel being hacked a week after I already got it back. You made it just gets worse and worse.
Jesus.
You made the video after I already called out other channels for clickbaiting my cancer. You even stated you knew before the video uploaded that I don't want people calling me the cancer VTuber, yet you made the video. F off. Also, you of course didn't want the situation to be public because you look terrible.
I mean, like,
I chose not to say anything, but then you
once you start putting your medical fucking ailments on the internet, and then you start asking money and shit,
making me step up.
like,
And as mentioned,
no
Kat is
one
just
can
getting
help
tremendous backlash for all this stuff. Of course,
that's
for
of
example,
your
going
own
back to her
making.
statement and taking a look at some of the quote responses, because she had also locked the direct responses, but you can't lock the quote tweets. We got like this example. Just stop making videos. You are a hateful and evil person who seeks to profit by actively lying about people. Not even you being misinformed. You intentionally lie. Not even a woman suffering from cancer is taboo for you. You still lie, even now, to try and save yourself. You can delete the Doki video so easily in under 30 seconds, or better yet, take real accountability and stop covering drama when you're biased and not getting both sides. Closing comments because you know you will get burned to ashes. How is your "they're not going to put a dent in me" attitude going? That's referencing.
Yeah, I mean, she literally took out that fucking dunce cap again and just
one response that's
fucking let it
says, we
let
love
her
and support
fucking
you, Kat.
brain
Keep
rot
being
rip
based,
throughout the
and it
fucking
gets
universe.
0 likes. How about you first take down your terrible hit piece video on Dokibird, retract your words and admit you lied about her. Then you can worry about your other terrible actions. Holy smokes, have some shame. And really quick side note, that reminds me, the Niji Sanji Defense Force, the Niji sisters are mad at me for making this video.
Yeah, that's
stuff
that another that too.
It's
like
we can see
this person has been getting probably fucking DMs from
what happened here,
like other weird
YouTuber, that being Kat,
retarded journalists or
and posting this image
V twattas
Kane
that don't
looking
fucking know how to
upset,
fucking be a
and the
human
comments are filled with
being,
people both mad at me
and instead
and,
just
like,
go
trying to
on the
somehow
fucking internet
blame
and be
Dokibird for all
brain
this,
dead.
and like defending Kat. For example, this one that says, the amount of hate I have seen towards Kat is astounding. The girl did nothing wrong. She just read the Google Doc and gave her opinion based on what was in there. The Google Doc that she made. What the frick, dude? She just read the Google Doc. Also, the amount of people saying Doki did nothing wrong. They still didn't handle it well at all. Yeah, Doki's handled it fine. Kat's not handling it fine, though, that's for sure. To be fair, this comment was made on May 16th, so, like, Kat's been handling it even worse since then, but even at that point in time, Kat was already handling this terribly, and it was very clear that Doki was, if anything, the victim. And going to Kat Liente's channel, Kat in Chat, we can see the terrible Doki video is still up there. And like I initially said to begin with, it came off to me like Kat made this terrible video to try and get as much ad revenue off Doki's name as possible. And now with all this backlash occurring and people still going to this video to check it out for themselves, she's probably just glad that
why do you think small content creators talk a lot about big content creators sometimes?
Though, let's take a look
they're trying
at
to
her most
fucking
recent
get into the algorithm.
Because we can see that she is getting backlash in her own comment section. For example, this one that says, I guess she's not going to take any accountability for her recent drama. I believe this is the most liked comment here, and we can see a number of the most liked comments, the top comments, are referring to this whole thing. For example, this one that I apologize for getting cut off there, but it says, are you going to make a video apologizing to Doki and Alicia, or are you just going to pretend like that didn't happen? You can't blame your editors. You need to learn to take accountability for your actions. So where's the update video on the Doki PC situation, or are you too afraid to admit that you were wrong? And this one referencing the title of the video here, saying client got ghosted, like how Kat trying to settle things right now with Doki and Alicia. Because again, the title here is client ghosted for 2 years. Anyways, yeah, that's where we're at with this. Unbelievable stuff. Let me know what you guys think about all this Kat Liente, Kat in Chat stuff.
Well, I mean, she's a known person who just gives out disinformation and misinformation. She's like a Hassan, right? Talking about she lies and bullshits. Fucking lies and bullshits.
On Monday, May 27, 1984.
What is this? Nintendo strikes Palworld. This has gone too far. Uh-oh.
From what we all suspected, that the changes made last November were indeed motivated by Nintendo's lawsuit. Now, if you're out of the loop here, the update made pals spawn next to the player rather than spawning from balls. But today's story is not just the confirmation of that, it's also what happens next. Because Pocket Pair are now saying that this is not the end. Even more changes are coming to the game, and not because they're changes that players really want to have.
I hate to say it, but yeah, companies
basically,
like
Nintendo are very much still
bring a
at
bad
it,
name to like
creativity
in the
Thanks
the
to
gaming
reporting
sphere.
from the specialist outlet GameSpray,
Right,
we now have
they
some
just
idea of how
stifle
Pocket Pair plan to
creativity.
defend itself.
Right,
And this comes from filings in
the fact that
February
they're
reviewed
trying
by
to
GameSpray at the Tokyo District
the fact
Court.
that they
Basically,
patented
the plan is to
that
prove that
little
Nintendo should
thing
have
is
never
like,
been
Jesus.
granted their patents in the first place.
That's
And this
small
comes down to a
mechanic, right?
pretty simple concept. So Nintendo filed patents in December 2021 that have been iterated on after
It's
Palworld
basically
released.
function as a
Now,
service.
those most recent patent updates were filed after Palworld
it's basically
came out, but they were
put a copyright
extended
or
from
patent
previously
on it.
filed patents. Now, under patent law, that's allowed, where the principle is that the natural evolution of the patent under, like continued
so if
development
anybody
should also be
uses
protected.
that
But there's a natural counter
sort
to
of
this, and that natural counter
processy
is
of
called
that
prior art.
patent,
And prior
they
art
can
is
copyright
what
strike
Pocket Pair
you.
intend to use. So the idea
In
is that
any
prior
game
art
mechanic.
existed before the original 2021 filing date, where the combination of two separate mechanics could reasonably give rise to the patent Nintendo holds. So as an example, everyone's pointed to the idea that Pocket Pair's previous game Craftopia also had a ball capture
Pokeball,
mechanic.
yeah.
Now, Pocket Pair is not arguing that Craftopia alone means that Nintendo never should have been granted that patent, but by acknowledging Craftopia plus the influence of other existing games, the patented mechanic could be arrived at naturally through regular development processes, as opposed to, say, nabbing it from Nintendo and infringing upon their patent. Basically, as GamesFray puts it, when you add any of the following to Craftopia, you get to the same place that Palworld did, and that they're accused of infringing Nintendo's design with. So let's just make that feel real by bringing in some actual other video games, right? So games like Rune Factory 5, Titanfall 2, and Pikmin 3 Deluxe all feature a character releasing monsters / capture items in a direction by releasing a button. Yes, your Titan and...
You could even say doing like a hunter trap and trapping animals.
Titanfall, I suppose, is a Pokemon. Jokes aside, you get the point, though. Pikmin, Far Cry, and Tomb
the
Raider...
fact that they can patent the idea of setting up a trap or some type of some type of tool that can house or store an animal, and then you can throw it out and then release it out in the world. Come on, what are we doing here?
All highlight that you have a variety of throwable objects as part of their mechanics. Meanwhile, then, you've got Pocket Souls, the mod for Dark Souls, Octopath Traveler, and Final Fantasy, all showing that you can pick targets on a field with a visual representation of how successful you might be. Okay, so those are broad examples, they're varied examples. I guess there's also the example of the Pokemon GTA mod, but basically, it's no coincidence that Nintendo games find themselves present in these lists. Pocket Pair are basically banking on the validity of Nintendo's patents being granted as their main argument here, right? That they shouldn't have been granted, that is, that they're not valid. And the more that they can muddy the water around whether Nintendo should have them, the better the chance that the whole case
Well, I mean,
gets
this
thrown
isn't
out.
the Asian
But
court system.
There's a question
so
to
it's
be
like,
asked of this situation.
I hate to say it, but
The
their
Japanese
patent
lawsuit
laws
is
are
ongoing,
different
and
than
these changes won't necessarily
American
stop
patent
that
laws.
right now. So why make them, right? Why would
You're
Pocket
fighting
Pair do
against
all of this
Nintendo,
whenever it might
Japan
seem they're making
patent
some
laws?
progress?
It's like,
Well,
ugh.
that's because they might not influence Japan.
I mean,
but
even
they
then,
might have an
fucking
impact
the
on
American
potential
system kinda sucks.
American lawsuit. A fun situation's going down in the US.
Wait, it
Many
is
of
an
them, in
American
fact,
lawsuit.
But let's just stay in the patents for now. So generally, whenever someone loses 22 out of 23 arguments, that's not really seen as victory, right?
Yeah.
You think that, but it's not necessarily the case in patent law, and I've got some
Well, I
good news
mean,
here.
because
I
mean, with patent law, they're subject to change because there's some people don't understand software sometimes, right? They don't understand segments of code.
phrase explain it to me like I'm 5 series. That means that the rest of us can actually understand what's going on. And yes, thanks to them, because this stuff can be so goddamn dense. So, per their explainer, Nintendo have been making more moves in the US with applications to the US Patent and Trademark Office. Now, these take a while to resolve, so today's set of updates will range from starting back in 2022 through to February of 2025. And to simplify things, Gamefrey explained that Nintendo have been recently granted several patents by the office. Patent 1 relates to capturing a character in a field environment, so like any recent Pokemon game. Patent 2 is about players exchanging items, and Patent 3 is about using an aimed item to capture
Wait, what
a
about
fighting
Digimon
character.
then?
Rather obviously, all 3 of these could be applied
because
to
you could say
Palworld,
that Digimon kind of had, right? They had like those little fucking like computer fucking digital things. And then sometimes they would come out of their fucking little thing. Right?
In May 2024
like, come on,
after
what is
Palworld's
this?
release. Now,
What
these
we
are all
got
matters
here?
of record, but they strengthen any case that Nintendo wants to make in the US about Palworld. And as for the losses, well, those losses are actually new. So 22 of the 23 losses came in the form of another application for a patent, this time a patent about riding objects in-game. Gamefrey reported this as having been served a final rejection where, as part of the claims regarding the patent, Nintendo had 22 of their 23 claims be rejected. But it turns out you only really need one for it to be a problem. Now, that last claim only needed to be reworked for the patent to be granted. So Nintendo is very much not defeated in America, even though 22 of their claims for this patent, weren't accepted. And there's actually a lot Nintendo can do. They can appeal the decision, they can rework the claims
they can
in line with
appeal
feedback,
any of,
or they could even try to convince the patent examiner that some of the 22 rejected claims are valid. And that all seems like a lot of work just to try to toss one more patent on top of the pile that they're accumulating in the US. But it's Nintendo. They're
willing
legally.
to do that, yeah.
And it's
They're
actually
willing to
wider than
fucking
just them.
axe you,
And that's not just my opinion. It's
Yeah, I
directly
mean,
from
just
the
like
mouths
some of
of
these
people
they
who actually
will
make the
fucking
patent
act.
decisions, because they are huge business. In
They'll
January
make
this
sure
year,
to
we
get
got to
their
see things from the
lawyers to
perspective of the
fucking
people who actually
sabotage the
filed
shit
these
out of you.
lawsuits. Automaton reported on the, quote, importance of intellectual property rights in the games industry at Tokyo Esports Fiesta 2025. This was attended by Capcom, Nintendo, Sega, Konami, and Koei Tecmo. So Sega and Konami's representatives framed these mechanical patents in a way that was very explicit, that it's about incentivizing developers to make new systems and then protecting those systems from being stolen and recouping the high costs of developing games by licensing. And the latter part in particular was the real value of all of this work, rather than potentially risky or expensive lawsuits. But patents are also a significantly more useful tool to have than just copyright alone. Capcom's representative echoed Nintendo's with the idea that they can protect their brands, right, from infringement or damage via patents, and it's basically another tool in their arsenal, especially when brands are capable of skirting full copyright, but say can capture the spirit of a game. So for them, it's not necessarily, at least they frame it, about stamping out competition or punishing smaller teams for trying to innovate by iterating on other games. It's more about protecting what they have from other companies, big or small, not necessarily great. And that's why Nintendo, for an example, files patents for every mechanic in their games, regardless of the likelihood of them being granted. And it's that leaves the companies that breach those patents in hot water. Yes, in a way that can feel very direct and targeted, like what we've been talking about here, but also just in a systemic level, right? In that this is kind of how the system ends up working. They just make a point of filing patents for everything, right? Because they have then maximum coverage. That means, well, they can use those to further whatever ends they may have. And it's for that reason that, within Palworld, we're seeing all the fun business around gliding. In addition to the fact that the PAL's now
so Palworld's getting gliding now?
Ball. But okay, now we've explored a lot of the
but
situation,
you're using
let's bring it all
pets to
together.
glide, are you
First
not?
off, this is not going to be
I'm so
resolved
confused.
quickly.
No.
That's just not how this
Wait, are they going to now take away gliding from pets? What?
stuff goes, and especially if these lawsuits expand to the US or further afield. Pocket Pair is clearly planning to take Nintendo on to the best of their ability here, despite Nintendo's legendary legal track record. I mean legendary. All of their lawyers are John Wick type people. So if they can win, it will be a brilliant David and Goliath story. But with companies like Capcom and Sega very happy to explain that these patents are part and parcel of game development now, it's not necessarily going to be an earth-shattering change either. It's not going to be a case where Pocket Pair could win and then standards and all sorts of things in the industry would change. No, not really. The system's too big, there's too much money in it, and realistically speaking, like so many things, it inherently does favor the incumbents, because guess what? They actually have got the resources to do all of these patent filings, right? They actually have the resources to do those things. That means that, say, if everyone was to have an equal quantity of patentable innovation, who are the people who would be most able to act on that opportunity by using their resources? Is it the small little indie team, or is it the company with a humongous legal department? It's obviously the latter, and that's how it inherently plays in the favor of the incumbents. That's why the likes of your Capcoms, your Segas, etc. are all happy to talk about how this is an important part of modern game development. Big happy smiles. I suppose we'll just have to see what happens to PALs next.
Yeah,
Anyway,
right.
as fun as
The
all
big
this is, if you wanna get the
AAA
lowdown on a very
industries are
spicy
now
new
trying
business
to
model
exert
of,
their
hey,
power
just
to
licensed
stop
branded
indie
expansions.
companies
Watch
from
this video
rising
next.
up and destroying everything that they worked on. Because the AAA companies are so fucking full of themselves. Fucking Nintendo. See, that's another reason why I don't want to buy any of Nintendo's bullshit. Because all the fucking stupid shit they do behind the scenes. Like all the fucking stupid lawfare they do. Holy shit, it's fucking annoying. And then they ask, oh, what? Well, they never ask why they get criticized. Because they fucking stifle, right? They try to shut people up. And they're like a mafia company. All right.